haven't opened us up yet because we've got a minute more. It's preparing for live stream. It's setting up for your Facebook Live. Done directing to Facebook Live. For your Facebook Live. Oh, it heard me say that. Okay. Done directing to Facebook Live. Oh, it heard me. So I have to set it up and turn it off. Otherwise, we'll hear doubled all through our reading. And it's 7 o'clock, folks. So I'm going to let people in and start talking. Thank you all for coming.
Appreciate it.
Oh, Linda's here. Dana's here.
Mm.
Okay. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Speculative Sundays Poetry Reading Series. And let's see. Oh, one more thing to do. Want to record. Thank you. Okay. This evening, we're presenting speculative love poems. We are live on Facebook via Zoom. I am Akua Lezli Hope, speaking to you from the ancestral land of the Onondaga, also known as the Seneca, keepers of the Western Door in the Southern Finger Lakes region of New York State. I pay homage to the Seneca, past, present, and future, and to, as I do to my own ancestors, by whose grace I exist and am sustained. The series, the Speculative Sundays Poetry Reading Series, was made possible in part by a grant from poets and writers with public funds from the New York State Council on the Arts. This reading is being recorded if you didn't hear it. So if you've got concerns, please turn your camera off. Inaugurated in September 2020, the series seeks to remediate the lack of presentations of speculative poetry by its live creators. Now in its 7th year, woohoo, the Speculative Sundays Reading Series has presented over 55 hour-long events, including over 84 poet readings. So let me tell you a bit about speculative poetry. In case you don't know, it's ancient of days, older than the flood, the poetry of possibilities, which centers the imagined as real. The first recorded human literature was speculative verse. Gilgamesh, the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, the Iliad and Odyssey, and Beowulf are some ancient examples. Speculative poetry includes alternate history, apocalyptic, astropoetry, cryptids, cyberpunk, dystopian, fabulism, fairy tales, fantasy, folklore, futurism, horror, magic, monsters, mythology, occult, paranormal, post-apocalyptic, robots, romantasy, science fiction, shifters, slipstream, solar punk, solar funk, space opera, superheroes, supernatural, sword and sorcery, sword and soul, steampunk, time travel, utopian, and weird. It takes all poetic forms, plus one of its own called sci-fi coup. From nursery rhymes to Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, from Puff the Magic Dragon to Zombie Jamboree, we've all recited and sung speculative poetry. You can find the series recordings on the Speculative Poetry YouTube channel. And a list of past poets is on our website. So I want to mention one other thing. If you look in chat, there's a link to a giveaway. So 3 of our poets are inviting you to join their mailing list and consider getting a goodie in return. Check that out. Our first poet for this evening is Jennifer Crow, who for over a quarter of a century has been writing speculative poetry with themes of love, good for her, wonder, and grief. With their roots in mythology, folklore, and scientific imagination, her poems have found homes in a wide variety of print and electronic venues. She won the 2023 Rhysling Award for short poetry for her poem, oh, I dug this too, Harold and the Blood Red Crayon. Her latest chapbook, very lovely, Take Up Your Skin, features work that has appeared on her Patreon page. Interested readers can catch up with her on Patreon or on Blue Sky. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Akua. It's great to be here. It's an honor to be with my fellow poets and to celebrate some love poems and some speculative poems. I have to say that a lot of my poetry is kind of more on the horror end of things. So I was like searching through my poems, trying to find the right ones to read. And I went to my husband, and we've been married for 33 years now. And I said, I've written you a bunch of poems. Is there one you'd like me to read in your honor tonight? And he said, there's that one about a jar of darkness. And I said, that's not a love poem, hon. I actually wrote it about the darkness that came over Egypt during Moses' time, and how, imagine if somebody had captured a jar of that and was keeping it as kind of a totem object. And he said, oh, and he looked very sad. So I wrote another Jar of Darkness poem just for Doug. So I'm gonna start with that one tonight. That jar of darkness again. We keep it on the top shelf behind the extra soy sauce and iodized salt, dust crowding its lid and dimming its rounded surfaces. Hold it and note it weighs little more than an empty glass, but shadows greenish surface, a reminder that God works wonders, or God's menace our ordinary lives. And still the world turns, and still night creeps in through our windows. 30 years on, I still know where the jar sits, and I keep its lid twisted tight. A reminder that doom waits for all of us, closer than a breath on the cheek or the brush of a hand. Maybe you will stop loving me someday, perhaps when the last star falls out of the sky or the seas boil away to dust. But until then, we will keep our jar of darkness in a safe place and our hearts side by side, opened and ready to devour. Thank you. My second one is kind of related to that. It's called What It Is to Be Known, and it grew out of a conversation people were having on Blue Sky about what would you put into a pentagram to summon yourself, or what would people use to summon you? And I thought about that, and I was like, yeah, of all the people, there's maybe 3 people that could summon me, and definitely my husband is one, and he would know what to do. So I wrote, What It Is to Be Known. If you had to, you could conjure me with a handful of objects. Tolstoy taking the world's measure in War and Peace, a cinnamon candy, a sand dollar, a ball of yarn, maybe a fancy notebook, but not a pen with which to write in it, because once I write in a notebook, the spell is broken. You also know that second big cup of coffee will make me twitchy for hours. That sometimes I forget to eat when words catch me in their grip. That I will forgive a lot, but once I give up, nothing will bring back my goodwill. You're wise enough not to test me so far as that, unwise enough to stay with me despite my many and varied flaws. You remember to bring me treats as you would for a goddess or an unreliable wild beast. And you tell me again and again that I deserve the things I've believed were not for me. To be known is to belong, whole and heard, captured as sure as my words scratched in a journal or my smile caught by a glint in your eyes. Thank you. This next one is one that was published last year in the spring 2025 issue of the magazine Heartlines. And it also grew out of the what would you put in a pentagram to summon somebody. But this one is called Demonology for the Lovelorn. You know which 3 objects to put in the center of the pentagram that will summon the perfect demon to bring your love to you. A bottle of aged scotch, a wallet full of 20s, and a nickel-plated 6-shooter, like he always talked about buying. The demon's face wrinkles in consternation. You want him back, why? It asks in its grave, gravelly voice. It can't cross the circle of sea salt you carefully poured out on the floor, but its claw-tipped finger crooks as it points out the bruises on your arm. Your choice, it says with a seismic shrug of its bulky shoulders. But it asks again and again before you break the circle. It nicks your wrist at its own, your blood flowing together with a liquid like fresh lava, thick and bright and sulfurous in the air. The demon apologizes for hurting you, but after heartbreak, anything else seems muted, dulled. The sharp, mephitic stench of the demon offers catharsis. The roll oil in the belly, a relief when you've grown used to emptiness. In fact, when the doorbell rings, you find yourself too absorbed in your demon to answer. You take a too warm hand, whisper the summoning spell again, and leave an empty room behind for your ex, who will puzzle and rage and never learn. I had so much fun writing that one. I wanted to make a happy ending for all those women that I've talked to that have stayed in terrible relationships and suffered so much and have never received their due. And I wanted to make a happy ending for even just an imaginary one, because I feel like all of us deserve to feel loved and accepted for who we are and to be treated with decency. I'm gonna switch gears now. This one is more of a mainstream than a speculative poem, but it's one that I wrote back in 2020 when my husband and son and I were staying in Texas and waiting for my daughter to give birth to her first child. This was during the pandemic, and when everything was still mostly locked down, and so we're in this deserted hotel. It was so empty, and we were like, "Are you sure you want us there? Is it going to be safe?" And she said, "I want you to be here for me." So we packed up our things, we went and we kind of hunkered down in the hotel. And it was a strange feeling and kind of a grim feeling. But then I discovered something in our hotel room and it made me think. So I wanted to write a poem about it. So this poem is called The Sequence of Events. Something happened at this hotel. I imagine joy, or at least the intimate silliness of longtime friends gathered for a bachelorette weekend or an overnight birthday party, making a grand escape to the suites of this hotel in DeSoto, Texas, a room overlooking air conditioning units and downtown Dallas's distant towers, like a child's building blocks spilled out of a box, hidden beyond the horizon. Something cheerful happened here. Sequins and metallic confetti lurking in every corner, under the table and behind the toilet, a moment's bright surprise abandoned after the party. We are no less celebratory, waiting for word of our first grandchild's arrival in this world. Auspicious, despite the year's sullen progression from disaster to disaster. We have survived long enough and will hold that new life close. Her future smiles, the confetti decorating our existence, the sequence of events we hope to see. Thank you. That one is special to my heart. My granddaughter is 5 now, and she's a complete fireball. She's a delight. And when I read that poem, I think back to waiting for her arrival and being so excited. And that excitement has not gone away. And I feel really fortunate. If there's time, I have a couple more poems to read. One more. All right. All right. Then I will go back to something darker because that is my vibe. I'm going to end up with a poem called Love and the Merciless Seas. This is one of my sea witch poems because I kind of do that sometimes. Think of me when the freshening breeze off the northern sea catches you in the face and creeps around your collar. Think of my fingers caressing that soft place below your jaw, my salt-stained lips tracing the blood that flows beneath the skin. How I enjoyed the sin in your smile when we languished on summer's shore, even knowing the signs that marked transgression's end. Autumn brought with it 1,000 flocks of geese winging south, 1,000 herds thundering to winter's home. And we lay entwined with the golden grasses bending over us, lazy hum of bees fading to a sigh before gales rampaged into the village. You bade me goodbye before ice sealed the harbor, before the last of the dried berries fell from red-stained stems. And as I sank beneath, I saw you had already turned your face back to the human world. Yet I know, even if you haven't yet realized, no mortal girl can walk my seafoam path, nor forgive the shadows I have left in your eyes. Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun. I'm excited to hear everyone else's poems.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That was so, so lovely and moving and chilling, a little chill up my spine. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. Jennifer Crow. Our next poet is Jean-Paul. We're doing it alphabetical, so you know. Jean-Paul L. Garnier, who's the owner of Space Cowboy Books, bookstore and publishing house, producer of Simultaneous Times podcast, which was a 2023-2025 Laureate Award winner, won the BSFA, an Ignite and British Fantasy Award finalist he was also, and was the editor of the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association's Starline magazine, whoop, whoop, from 2021 to 2025. He's also editor-in-chief of Electronic Brain magazine. In 2024, he won the Laureate Award for Best Editor. He's written many books of poetry and science fiction, and you can find him at spacecowboybooks.com. Such a terrific guy, dauntless, full of energy, prodigious and wonderful. Jean-Paul L. Garnier.
Thank you so much, Akua, and thank you to all of my fellow poets here. I've been humbled by your words for years, even before meeting, with the great privilege of reading all your work for Starline. Um, I realized in preparation for this reading that I don't write about love very often, or as often as I should. I often am trying to transmute ugliness into beauty, but why not start with beauty? But I did find a few older love poems, and I have a bunch of new stuff for this evening as well. This one's from my latest book, Anthropocene, and I write in little thematic clusters usually. And so this poem is from a series called Utopian Problems, explorations of what utopia might actually look like. It's called Global Contact, Neighborly Love. A kind word, given freely, passed from one hand to another, and taking its time, traveling far and long, reaches all the way across the world. An ill glance does the same. The echo will resound, nothing to stop the contagious as it gains momentum, taking its time, passing through us all. How many times until the glance becomes the word, changing the world forever? This one's from the same collection, Anthropocene, and it's called Point of View. The so-called sodomy laws fell apart in my cloaca. Drones flew to the window, POV'd through private scenes, and made quadruple X films as they removed my skins. One of a kind, they decided, to legislate our love, even after all the test, killing dignity and function. On my world, normalcy blurs their alien sense of morality. They came upon me, all knives in their hearts, their poisoned duality so singular, in their understanding of real oneness, thinks my being has something to do with them or their business. This one from the same collection is called Ego Death, and love is a form of ego death. Once I found your speed, tunneling toward death, ego smeared into spirals, laughter in the shape of tears. At this speed, time stills, reference irrelevant. I dies, replaced. Something grander, encompassing. We cannot measure the stillness, which moves from our position both at once outside our frameworks. Will I know your speed again? More than ego will die, whence I return. May we join. So get into some new stuff. Nobody's heard these yet, so hopefully they're okay. It's all from the last few weeks. Uh, in thinking about love, I've often wondered, is this a human construct or is this a universal? I have no answer, but I hope it's universal. So this poem is called Anthropomorphic Love. Anthropomorphic love. Is there any other kind? Are you just the right chemical recipe? The different path, the hard lesson, battle against entropy, oxytocin flood. If God is love, jealous, abusive ex, or mother? Love equals will, surviving infinitude, a cosmos big enough for every truth. Infinity with room for paradox. Universe view, every eventuality. No conflict, not yes, no, and or. No love, hate, beauty. Here's a little mini one. It's called In Love. Interstellar medium, no sweet words whispered, silence language. Light expressing in place of words, opening the medium, voluptuous as vigor allows, everything in expression of you. This one is about my favorite form of love, agape, a love for all of us, for everything alive. Agape, competition, biological pendulum, food chain mentality, macro surface expression, entropic, unevolved, does not know better. Cooperation, cells team up, microscopic order expressed, a cosmos within, atom thin, shelter together. Even the 30% of you that isn't you. Of these balances, choose the latter. See each as all, order before destruction is a choice. In thinking about whether love is a universal construct, it does beg the question, could we love another species, an alien species? Now, I love my cat dearly, so I believe it is possible, but I think there are complications that might arise, and what a beauty it would be to find out for real. In translation, in another world, in another flesh, would a gaze be understandable? Would voices be lost to thin atmosphere? Would pheromone clash with palate? Would custom find me rude? Would the taste of our kiss offend? Would they criticize your beast who speaks? In another flesh, on another world, would our love be shamed? How am I doing on time, Akua? One more. Okay, wonderful. This is my favorite love poem I've ever written, so I'm glad there's time for it. Radio Lab's a great podcast, and there's an episode with Anne Droyan, who's Carl Sagan's partner and a scientist and author, and just amazing woman. It is the most heartbreakingly beautiful love story that I've ever heard of them falling in love while working on the Voyager spacecraft. If you haven't heard this, and you want a good, beautiful weeping session, Radio Lab and Droyan. So this is called Droyan and Sagan. Your love exalts humankind, flowing through the cosmos, our record, love that outlasts humankind. The responsibility for human fate only made you love more. Love on the scale of deep time. Forethought equals timeless waves of beauty. Golden sailing, eternal spinning. Only now have you left our star. Thank you for being the ones to represent that which is best in us. If it is the last vestige of humanity, thank you for making it love. Thank you, everybody.
Wow. Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Jean-Paul. My heart. And there are so many themes that you touched on that I've tried to wrestle with too, in terms of alien love, other love. Thank you for talking about different forms of love. Wonderful. The next poet is me, a multidimensional award-winning creator and wisdom seeker. I've been in print since 1974. I'm a Grandmaster of Fantastic Poetry as designated by the Science Fiction and Fantasy Poetry Association. Thank you very much. My collections include Embouchure, which won the Writer's Digest Award, Them Gone, and Otherwheres, which won an Elgin Award. A Cave Canem Fellow. My honors include the NEA, 2 NYFA fellowships, the SFPA Award, Rhysling Awards, Ignite and Critter Awards, as well as multiple Best of the Net, Rhysling, Dwarf Star, and Pushcart Prize nominations. I edited NOMBONO, an anthology of speculative poetry by BIPOC Creators, which is the history-making first of its kind, and through which I met so many wonderful poets around the world. I present this series now in its 7th year. Yes, thank you all for participating and supporting. Spread the word. And my collection, Telepath, is due April 2026 from Gnashing Teeth Publishing. Very much encouraged by Jean-Paul L. Garnier. We've had some fabulous discussions. So grateful for your being, Jean-Paul. I wrote new poems for this occasion too, because I suddenly realized that I talked a lot about robot sex and robot love. And I'm trying to think of the other things that were sort of love poetry were, yeah, just a couple of alien ones. I felt a new energy. So here we go. And you pry me open. You pry me open. Expose my inner head, possibilities, glory, and awful ache that longs for its angelic self, transcendent, mighty, winged, that does not fit in this narrow bed. My feet hum, thrum with streams running up my legs to converge where hope's tinderbox awaits blue flame, lit from longing's spiral recreation. I touch where you say, squeeze where you direct my hands to learn an inner magic, body song. My fingers to reach, to play, to open and close this electric circuit, rewiring past, present, and future. Light blasts from my chest, this bright bridge ascending, this luminous wave connecting, longevity's dream fingers you, deep in it, deep in it, deep in it. You pry me open. You do something to me, something that really mystifies me. Tell me, why should it be? You have the power to hypnotize me. Let me live beneath your spell. Do that, who do that, you do so well. For you do something to me that nobody else could do. Shelled Ghost sings love song. Let me explain this for a moment. Ghost in a Shell by Masamura Shiro's. He had a manga, a live action film based on Ghost in a Shell, and an anime series. I'm definitely an anime person. And in it, a woman saved from death is resurrected as a cyborg. Major Kusanagi leads a task force hunting cyber criminals. And this came out in 1995, but through its iterations has lived to close to now. Shelled Ghost sings love song. In this immortality, so lonely, in this ever livingness, rehoused in biosteel, a low level hum throbs what might be pain, rogue sparkings of transmission from feet along my thighs to brain. I was content, spent, alone, until we met while grieving one we could not forget, remembering we have to go on. And now I beg you to last, to change, to save memories of our uncharted, unshared past. I asked you to commit to this task. Now that we found each other, there's so much to discover. We've lived a lifetime apart. And now, aged, I want more, to live new journeys with this changed heart, a fresh start to learn all we've got to give. How to get you to stop all that limits. You drink embalming corrosives, vodka and overproof rum, burning chemical leaves between your soft lips, not sleeping when night is done, running through danger streets. This immortality will be agony without you ever near. Please reconceive, reconfigure what you consider dear and imbibe. Oh, please reinscribe your programming. Swap an inner for an outer, lasting longer. Embrace being stronger. Swap your frail flesh for biosteel. Remain alive with me. Ya Habibi. Shelled Ghost sings love song. Last Monday was the full moon in Leo. And there were issues. This is how high the moon. I was taught to contain this howling, which now bleeds into conversation. Those startlements that break constraints. Oh shit. Piss-stained leaks of can't hold it in. Expletive spout from brain wound. Gibbering, viscous drool of desire. Wrenching, fragrant. Only part sex because embodied. Body does body. When this how high Leo moon fulls has its way with me, there is no rest from this yearning, nibbling, prodding shift. The spritz of your sparks burn cigarette holes in my veil. The ruse of normalcy in this play smoked out, jiggered, reshaped. I rush off stage to slip out into something more comfortable. My naked yowl, weeping, leaping this construct, raving, loping through the brush fire you set, your deliberate rogue mischief. Oh, this unleashed longing, keening, huge, hungry, fanged love. How high the moon. Thank you. Now for our next poet. Our next poet, Juan Manuel Perez, a Mexican-American poet of indigenous descent and the poet laureate for Corpus Christi, Texas from 2019 to 2020. He's the author of numerous poetry books, including the recently released bilingual haiku collection, the enigmatical sphere of El Chupacu from Space Cowboy Books. You see family here, right? You see the relationships. As well as the award-winning poetic memoir, 30 years ago, Life and the First Gulf War. Juan, a former migrant field worker, is also the 2021 Horror Authors Guild's inaugural Lifetime Achievement Award winner and a recipient of a Horror Writers Association diversity grant. His awards include honorable mention in the Poetry Society of Virginia's Veterans Poetry Project Edward W. Lowell Memorial Contest, 2 honorable mentions for the International Latino Book Awards, 1 Regal Summit Book Award, an honorable mention in the 2025 inaugural War Poetry Postcard Contest, Best of the Net nomination, Pushcart Prize nominations, 3 Elgin Book Award nominations, 4 Rhysling Award nominations, 4 Dwarf Star Award nominations, and 1 honorable mention, as well as 1 Heroic People's Choice Award nomination. You can learn more about this wonderful award-winning poet, migrant field worker, combat vet, history teacher, working on our future and our new folks, and Native American gourd dancer at juanmperez.com. Welcome, Juan Manuel Perez.
Thank you. I guess we're done with poetry. From La Tierra de los Carancawas here in Corpus Christi, Texas. Good evening. I'm going to read 5 haiku from this great book by my publisher and friend, John Paul. And then I'm going to read 3 other poems, all on the subject of love. And I had to dig for the love parts on these. But there is some love. There is some love. Hay amor, hay amor. All right. So let me just get started. Thank you again for having me tonight, by the way, Akua, and my fellow poets, who's 2 I've not ever spoken to before. I guess this is sort of face-to-face, I guess. But it is an honor to be here tonight. So this is from the enigmatical sphere of El Chupacu. Personal ad reads, single Chupacabra 6, fatalistic goat. El anuncio personal dice, Chupacabra soltero busca cabra fatalista. They're real short, so let me get a second one. Sort of the same line, all about love. Personal ad reads, young Chupacabra seeking like-minded sucker. El anuncio personal dice, joven Chupacabra buscando chupador de ideas afines. And then this one, actually there's 4, I thought there were 5. There is no love lost, whether business or pleasure, for chupacabras. No hay amor perdido, ya sea negocio o placer, para chupacabras. And then the last one, and again, these are real short. These are what we call a sci-fi coup, or horror coup in this case. Why did it turn out, me, the hunger, you, the meal, gray order of things? ¿Por qué resultó yo el hambre, tú la comida, orden gris de las cosas? And that is from the 100th haiku, sci-fi haiku book, recently out, December 2025. So thank you again, John Paul. All right, So I dug up some poems that I haven't read in a long time. That are love poems, and so I want to read this to you. This first one is called Masterpiece, and it is for my wife. I compared her to two of my favorite artists for science fiction, which is Frank Frazetta. I don't know if you're familiar with Frank Frazetta. And I never met him while he was alive, but I did meet the next person that I also referenced, Frank Kelly Freas, and I was in my early 20s back in Memphis, Tennessee, in one of the early science fiction conventions that I attended when I was still in the military. So I like their drawings, their paintings, and I compared my wife to the paintings, and well, they're speculative painters, so I compared my wife to speculative painters, and this is primarily for her. This is called Masterpiece. For my wife, for Frank Frazetta, 1928-2010, and for Frank Kelly Freas, 1922 and 2005. You have that body only Frazetta could paint, a body deliciously dressed in real women curves, a body that could make any man beg for dear, sweet favors, a body capable of giving birth to 100 human babies, a body that could even slay 1,000 men in heated battle, a body that could easily seduce millions over millions of men, a body that could make the whole living universe fall in love with again and again. You have that face that only Frias could paint, a face that looks beautifully futuristic and heavily in mysterious space, a face that could melt the cold hearts of any destroyer of worlds, a face that could lead great mighty warriors straight into the heart of battle, a face that any earthly or galaxy queen would willingly try to emulate, a face that could kill any humanoid on looks alone if so provoked, a face that no man could ever resist, even if he was blind. Your body is that temple, your face that heavenly place. You are that great unpainted masterpiece that even the ghost of great artists would wish to come back to paint. Obra maestra. Para mi esposa, para Frank Frazetta, para Frank Kelly Freas. Tienes ese cuerpo que solo Frazetta podía pintar, un cuerpo deliciosamente vestido con curvas de mujer real, un cuerpo que hacía cualquier hombre suplicar por favores dulces y preciosos, un cuerpo capaz de dar a luz a 100 bebés humanos, un cuerpo que incluso podría matar a 1000 hombres en una batalla acolorada, un cuerpo que fácilmente podría seducir a millones de hombres, un cuerpo que podría enamorar a todo el universo viviente una y otra vez. Tienes ese rostro que solo Frías podría pintar, un rostro que luce hermosamente futurista y celestial en un espacio misterioso, un rostro que podría derretir los corazones fríos de cualquier destructor de mundos, un rostro que podía guiar a grandes y poderosos guerreros directamente al corazón de la batalla, un rostro que cualquier reina terrestre o galáctica intentaría emular, un rostro que podría matar a cualquier humanoide solo con su apariencia así si lo provocara, un rostro al que ningún hombre podría resistir aunque estuviera ciego. Tu cuerpo es ese templo, tu rostro es el lugar celestial. Eres gran obra maestra sin pintar, que incluso los fantasmas de los grandes artistas desearan volver a pintar. Thank you. And this one, I like robots too. So, but I don't know if anybody knows that there's no brown people in the Jetsons. So, just something I want to bring that up. But this is for Rosie, a sonnet for Rosie, the Jetsons made. Are your parts made in Japan? Your right leg, your left hand? Are you wired through and through, head to toe, all of you? Are you able to feel my touch? Can you fake it or not so much? Do you know how to love, not just roses and white doves? Are you able to fall asleep, hope to wake and angels keep? Are you capable of dreaming? Is it syndicated or live and streaming? So, can you be as much for me as all the parts that make you be? And now in Spanish. Un soneto para Rosy, la sirvienta de los Jetsons. Tus partes son hechas en Japón. Tu pierna derecha, tu mano izquierda. Estás cableada de pies y cabeza, completamente de principio a fin. Me puedes sentir, me puedes fingir o casi no. Sabes amar, no solo rosas y palomas blancas. Puedes conciliar el sueño, esperas despertar y que los ángeles te cuiden. Eres capaz de soñar. Es un sueño pregrabado o en vivo y en directo. Puedes ser tanto para mí como todas las partes que te conforman. Thank you. And then the last one is about time travel and whether or not it exists, but it's got a little twist to it. So this is actually one of what I call the haiku crowns, and eventually it'll appear in the book later on. But this one hasn't been published yet, so this is the first time I read it. This is called Deadbeat, and it is a time traveling poem. He certainly was. Hadn't seen him since. Never. Just up, disappeared. Mom would build him up. A scientist, she would say, from some secret lab. Mom would also say, he will come back one day soon. But he never did. Never remarried, holding on to lies for years. Mom's been so lonely. Until recently, some weird young guy seeing her. You go, Mom, I guess. It's been 30 years since I've seen her so happy. Going to meet him. Something familiar. Time travel doesn't exist. This can't be my dad. En español. Es responsable. Sin duda lo era. No la había visto desde, pues, nunca. Simplemente desapareció. Mami lo decía. Un científico, decía, de algún laboratorio secreto. Mami también decía que podría pronto, pero nunca lo hizo. Nunca se volvió a casar. Se aferró a las mentiras durante años. Mami estaba tan sola hasta hace poco. Un joven extraño la está visitando. Qué bueno, mamá. Han pasado 30 años desde que te vi feliz. Vengo a encontrarme con él. Algo familiar. Los viejos trastiempos no existen. Este no puede ser mi papá. Thank you. And that's all I got as far as love.
Thank
So I
you
hope you
so
enjoyed it.
much. Thank you so much, Juan.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, this has been so delightful, everyone. Will all the poets please unmute so we can chat for a moment because we do have a few minutes left. Yay, yay, team. It's a joy to be in community with you, to be in concert with you. Hey, Linda, unmute, say hi, because we have a few minutes to chat before
I am overwhelmed with love from everybody's reading. I am just loved.
Thank you, thank you. Before we began, we spoke to each other about the need to affirm, assert, and hold up love and joy in these times in particular. While it is always needed and always present, that we need to hold it up, speak about it, and make it part of our resistance practice, because this is how we make our way through these times of chaos and undoing. Love does. Love stops the undoing. Love stops the unraveling. Love affirms. Love sustains. It is our creative principle, our creative foundation. And so I thank everyone who attended tonight, who's listening on Facebook, and who presented here for sustaining love in its many forms and incarnations.
And Akua, I want to thank you because I don't think I would have started with love in writing poetry if you hadn't invited me to do this. And it made me realize that I don't do that enough. And you know, I start with ugly and work towards beauty. And I'm like, yeah, I could start with beauty. So thank you.
I loved when you said that. That was so compelling. Yes, thank you.
I mean, because you
Jotted
can't
that
kill
line
love.
down. I'm going to turn that into a poem.
Oh, please do. Yeah, you can't kill love. You can't turn love off. So nobody can stop it, you know? It's unstoppable.
It's why we're here, right? Yes. Any other words?
I was excited to be included in this, and it was fun because I got to kind of go back and look through stuff from longer ago, and then
Can you? I'm trying to show it, but anyway, I have Take Up Your Skin here, which Jennifer is offering if you sign up to her. And I also wanted to say this. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'll come back to
no
you.
problem.
Which you can't see either. I have Anthropocene here. I'm just, so gratified to have your words, everyone's words with me here as well. But please, sorry, continue. I just get crazy.
I'm grateful for all the work you do. You make a huge difference in the community by lifting up people's voices and encouraging us and including us in things. It's made a big difference to me. I can't speak for everybody here, but definitely for me, you've been an inspiration.
Well, I'm grateful for your being.
Well,
And
thank you.
Truly, because I am because we are, and that all ships rise and that we all connect and we fuel and feed each other. So we need to also be able to hear and see each other to continue this fueling and feeding. It's a glorious, glorious spiral, and hopefully we'll evolve and hopefully we'll survive this moment. But we can only do it, as someone said in our presentation chat, by community. Was that you, Jennifer? Yes.
It was, yeah.
About asserting, please say more about asserting the value of community.
Well, I think of all forms of art, we're all having a conversation together, and I'll write something based on what Jean-Paul said, and I'll be thinking about what you and Juan shared, and that all feeds into things, and we're all talking to each other through our art, and so that's part of it, but also taking that beyond our art to communities and working on giving people hope and giving people a way to imagine a future that is not as bad as the present.
And I want to say,
to imagine ourselves in a future that is whole and healthy and happy. I'm sorry, Jean-Paul.
that's all right. I just wanted to thank Juan for reading in Spanish. It's such a beautiful language, and the strength and beauty and bravery of La Raza. Thank you for sharing that with us.
When he said
Gracias.
cuerpo, and I was like, that sounds so much better than body. I mean, can I just start sticking some other words in for, because it was so, oh my God, so sexual and sensual, so glorious, so yum, yum.
All the yum yum, all the swooning, all the yumming.
Oh, the sweet, yes, we were swooning, Juan. You made us swoon.
Oh, okay.
You made us swoon. Yay.
But I appreciate you letting me read in my first language. Actually, my first language I started with my abuelita, and she was a Nahuatl speaker, and unfortunately, she passed away quicker than than we could have. So our Nahuatl language speaker is gone. So I've been trying to relearn that. But her other language was Spanish. And then I came, and my other language was English rather than Spanish. I learned English in the second grade. But the fact that this idea of a monolingual country is just, I mean, other countries, the other side of the world, everybody speaks different languages, and that's a beautiful thing. And I just
Yes.
sometimes I've been to places where you can't read in Spanish. Like, well, the hell, I'm going to read it anyways in Spanish because that's why I wrote it in Spanish. But I know that sometimes unfortunately, I'm not a small guy. I mean, I'm over 6 foot and not your typical standard size warrior. I forced my way in there, but I was like, why don't you want to learn something different? I want to hear people read in the French language also. I wanted to learn French in high school, but my only other bilingual language class was Spanish. It's like, well, I already know that. So, but and then I did. I passed the test. I didn't even bother. He said, don't even come to class. Well, I had to because it's high school. But yeah, I don't know why we are the way we are. And I voted for a Star Trek future, not whatever's going on now.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Well, darkness can't last forever, and we are the light. Akua is our light bringer. She puts the light on everybody, makes a space
Listen
for us.
to her Pathmaker talk about light bringing. Thank you so much, wondrous Linda D. Addison. And now we're past time, which is wonderful because that's why we're here. I want to share a quote from something. It was musical, and it said, "Sorrow is not forever. Love is." Peace and blessings to you all. Thank you all who presented. Thank you all who listened. Thank you to all the hearts. Keep them open. Keep them connected. Stay in community. Good night and peace.
Mm.
Right. Thank you.
Buenas noches.
Mm.